Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So as you can see, I'm starting with a bare face, so that can pretty much only mean one thing. We are testing some new makeup. Now when I say new, I mean new to me. This has probably been out a good 6 months, and it is the Revolution Conceal and Hydrate. I've had this in my drawer for about 2 or 3 weeks now, and I do want to try it, or I do want to wear it should I say, but I wanted to film it first, my first impression. So I've taken off all the cellophane and everything because that's a nightmare, but I've bought the foundation in 3.5, which I always wear 3.5, but at the minute it's just not matching my face, so we might have to do a little work to blend it. And then I picked up C1 for concealer because I do like a brighter underside, because as you can see I do get some dark circles. So the reason I've picked up this foundation, which isn't normally for me should I say, I like a matte finish, full coverage, because I am oily, so oily. But my skin has been so dry and so dehydrated lately. I have changed up my skincare routine. I've been using oils, I've been using hydrating, well I use a sheet mask anyway, but like I've been using an overnight hydrating mask, just to try and keep my skin nice, looking nice, not looking dry and flaky, which it has been. So I thought I would give this a go, because my favourite foundation, or daily wear foundation, is the Conceal and Define. So it's the same, just this is the hydrating version. So I'm hoping it does say, let's have a look. So it's got hyaluronic acid in it, it's medium to full coverage, so it's pretty much the same. This does say it's full coverage, which if you build it, it can be full coverage. The only thing is, this has hyaluronic acid, and at the minute, hyaluronic acid is my best friend. So, like I said, barefaced, I have cleansed. Last night I used this, the Revolution Hyaluronic Acid Overnight Mask, and to remove the excess this morning I just used, which I really like using on the morning, it's the Glycolic Fix Daily Cleansing Pads by Nip and Fab. These I actually didn't pay full price, they're from TK Maxx, £4. So yeah, I've used those this morning. I did full skincare last night, so I only really needed to take the excess of the mask off. I've then prepped my skin with some hyaluronic acid, some SPF and day cream. So skin is ready for this to be put on. Now I'm not going to use a primer, because day to day I don't really use a primer. I use my serum as a primer because it's quite a tacky, like you can hear like your hands sticking to it a bit, so I'm not going to use a standard primer, because the only time I really use primers is on like a night out and things, when I'll use my Pore Perfection, not Pore Perfection, Perfection even, my Benefit primer, or if my skin is really dry and I'm going super matte, super full coverage, I'll use the MUA priming oil. But as I said, we're not doing either of those today, so I'm going to start by getting this on my face. Ooh, the spatula is different, either that or my spatula is broken. Oh, is it a pump, this one? It's a pump. It is a pump. I was going to say that was weird. So, I need a sponge. I'm going to pump it onto the sponge because I don't like getting it behind my nails. So I'm probably going to need to pump a couple of times. Oh, no, not too bad. Okay, so it's runnier. So I think I've just done like 3 or 4 pumps. So, oh, it's a lot runnier. A lot runnier. Oh, and I've got it all over my top. Brilliant. Let's just clean up first before I end up with foundation everywhere. So I would probably have done half of that if I'd have known, and then gone back. This is clean on. So it looks like it's enough to have like spread the whole face. So let's, I do always use a sponge anyway, let's bounce this in. Remember to bring it down the neck. So it's got decent coverage. Yeah, it's got decent coverage. It's covered up this, I don't know what it was. It wasn't a spot, but it felt like a spot, but it didn't come up to anything. It was just really red. Well, actually it looked bruised and sore. That was pretty much all it did. Okay, so that's actually really nice coverage. I am liking this. We are going to be doing a wear test. It is currently 11:30, well 11:36 to be precise. This is actually a lot later in the day than I would normally put my makeup on, but I've had a nice easy lazy morning today. Got up, breakfast, showered, then actually realised what time it was and realised I needed to be getting a move on. So let's have a look. Let's get a handheld mirror. Oh, got eyelashes. Now obviously this isn't drying down. It is a really nice luminous finish, but if I wasn't oily I would be quite happy with this because it's dewy, it doesn't look oily. But for me, as you know, I'm going to set it down anyway. The only thing I will say is you could probably sit and tap this out for hours on end, because it does, you will, even if you don't like a setting powder, I would probably say you would have to set it because it is liking to move. So I would probably say that it would need even just a light set with like a pressed powder or something, I would say, because it's quite easy to like mark and move around, so I would say it needs something. Okay, it's a nice dewy finish, which for me is a no-no. I'm just going to wipe a little of this off my lips, because that was a lot. I do leave a little bit of foundation on my lips because I've got quite dark pigmentation around the outside of my lips, but that was too much. But yeah, it's blended not too bad down the neck, and just make sure we're all tapped out. And then with the excess I just like to bring a little bit onto like the base of my ears, if that makes sense. Not too much, so it actually looks like I've foundationed my ears, but so that we don't just have like a line in the ear colour, especially if you're not 100% matching. Now, as you can see, this is super creasing, so it does definitely need setting, but it's covered up this blemish friend. I had a little bit of pigmentation here, which as you can see has covered nicely. I had some scarring on my chin, which that has been there for years from spots that I used to get as a teenager that I used to pick, and it's covered those nicely as well. So yeah, definitely medium to full coverage. I probably did use a lot, so that's probably why we've got such a good coverage. And now I'm going to go in with the concealer under my eyes, which I'm going to go light-handed with just because it is a couple of shades lighter, so I don't want to look ghost-like under the eyes. I need it to blend nicely. And then I'm going to just let it, because it does look like it's quite a wet concealer, but obviously it's a dewy finish anyway. That is the one thing compared to the conceal and define that I noticed about the foundation. It doesn't, like you've got play time. With the conceal and define, I do find that sometimes if I want a little more time to blend out, I do have to mix it with, I like to mix it with the foundation drops from Revolution Pro, because it is fast drying, it sets in place, it's matte. That is just the nature of the foundation, but obviously if you want a little more playtime, then this definitely gives you that. So the foundation has done a pretty good job of covering up my under eye bags anyway. So this is mainly for brightening and apparently getting in my eye. Ow! Concealer in the eye is never a good thing. So, like I said, it creases quite easily and quite quickly, so it will need setting, but as you can see that's brightened up my under eyes, but it does crease like instantly as soon as I open my eyes on my eyelids. So what I'm going to do, as I normally would, well actually normally I would set my under eyes baking them, but what I've been doing, I've been using this small Real Techniques brush. I'm not actually sure the name of the brush, but I use this to powder under my eyes. It's a nice size, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to do one eye at a time, and I'm going to bounce all the creasing out underneath the eyes and around the nose. We want to give this as fair a chance as possible. Pick up some loose powder on here and buff it in. Okay. We're not going to use a brush. I'm going to come in, zoom you in. It has shifted all the foundation about and the concealer. As you can see, I've got a nice patch now I'm going to have to try and sort out. So what I'm going to do, it's obviously quite a wet base, so I'm going to go with my sponge as I normally would and stamp it on. I've not been doing this quite as much just because, like I said, I've been getting dry skin, and I don't want to put too much powder under there at the minute because it just accentuates it, but needs must. As Just going to buff this onto the eyelid. Yeah, so as you can see, this is what happens when we don't set. So, again, tap out all of those creases. I'm hoping I'm going to like this foundation because it does feel nice on my skin. It doesn't feel too heavy. And it is hydrating. And obviously good for the skin. It's got skincare properties as well as makeup properties. But if we have problems of it shifting my makeup, then we'll be back to the drawing board for a hydrating foundation. So I've set the centre of my face, which is where I am most bothered about. Obviously it's setting. I'm now going to pick up my big fluffy brush and some of that setting powder. I'm going to buff this into the skin nice and gently. Okay, so to say I'm using a loose setting powder, it doesn't look, obviously it now looks matte. I'm hoping that, I tend to like illuminating foundations, so like I say, I like the foundation drops. I like that sort of an hour after I've set the face, like when I've sprayed everything, let it sit for a little bit and the natural luminosity is starting to come back through, the dewiness. I don't know what's going here. I seem to have a bit of powder that is gathered right here. This is not a good makeup day. Not happy. Okay, now either this powder doesn't suit this foundation, or my skin doesn't like this foundation. Let me zoom you in. Really dry and really old. As you can see, it's lifted slightly here. It's lifted here, literally. You can follow the line. I've got a patch where powder is clung here. My chin doesn't look the best. Do you not have anything? I think my forehead probably looks the best. Now, I'm going to carry on, put the rest of my makeup on, because I haven't really got the time to take it all off and do it again. I've got to be out of the house in 15 minutes. I think this is the longest it's took me to do my base in a very long time. And I'm not happy. Or I'm not thrilled with what I'm seeing. So what I'm going to do, actually, before I carry on with the rest of the makeup, I'm going to take some setting spray. I'm just going to set this in... this patch. I don't even know if it's picking up ink on camera, but I would think it would because I can see it instantly. It's like a little half moon. But I'm going to spray my face, let it dry a little bit now, and then go over with the rest of my makeup and hopefully we can salvage what is going on. Let's try it. I'll be back in a minute. So I've done my full face. I'm going to wear it, see how I go on, and I will retry it with different powders and things like that. But up to now, it's not making my favourites. It's already creased again on my eyelids and under my eyes, and I baked them, so I don't know if that is the concealer or if that is the foundation, so I'll try them in, I won't dismiss it completely. My skin actually, to say I used loose powder on it, my skin still feels a bit tacky, like it's not fully set in place, so I don't know how it's going to wear. I'm going to zoom you in and show you what happened to my nose. Like, it's all lifted when I went to contour my nose. I will wear it. I will write a list as well down in the description of what I used on the rest of my skin. I actually haven't used a proper highlighter today, just because I know that I'm going to get glowy and I don't want to look too, like, beaming at you. So I've used one of the Revolution Pro skin finishes in opalescent, is this one. Just to give a subtle glow, because we all know in about 2 hours I'm probably going to be looking an oily mess. I have got powder with me. Whether I'm going to have time to powder down, I don't know. It did take me a little while longer to blend my bronzer than normal, and still I don't feel 100% happy with it, but I've got no time, I've got to be going. Like I said, I'll wear it, I'll see how I go, but we'll see. I'm not sure. Hey, so it's a lot later. It is actually 16 minutes past 9 at night. So I've been wearing this makeup for nearly 10 hours now, just under 10 hours. And I can't wait to get, I mean, you can just look, the light is like bouncing off me. I've not powdered at all today. This is just 10 hours of wear from what you last saw. Doesn't look too bad, but doesn't look great. So pretty much all rubbed off on my chin, even though I did set it with a loose powder, but like I said, I did still feel tacky, and I've been quite conscious of, like, every time I've touched my face I felt like I've got like transfer onto my hands and things. We have creased, but we had creased earlier, as you can see, quite a bit of creasing. I don't know if I've used too much product. I will give it another go. I will try it again. I don't know if it's because I did the overnight hydrating mask last night and it was just too much hyaluronic acid, because I used that. I used my hyaluronic acid serum, and this has hyaluronic acid built into the formula, so whether it was that, just too much moisture, even though I always say you can never get too much moisture, but I don't know. At the minute, not a favourite, but I just want to zoom you in. As you saw earlier, my nose was super patchy and is now a whole lot worse. I'm missing a lot of foundation. I had quite an itchy nose earlier and I was sort of like scratching it, but I was so self-conscious of the fact that I was going to be lifting off, because I saw how easy it was to lift off. I mean, like I said, all the scarring's come through on my chin. Now, whether if I would have powdered down, it would have lasted a bit better, because where I've got my bronzer, it is still looking quite nice. It's just the other areas, but normally when I use a loose setting powder, especially the Rimmel, which was Match Perfection, which is like my go-to drugstore, normally I'm set, I'm done. But yeah, I don't know about this one. I was hoping it was going to be my answers to all of my dry, oily, dehydrated skin sort of questions, thinking that obviously it's got built-in hyaluronic acid, so it'll help with moisture, but it's hydrating, so it's not going to look too dry on the skin. But like I said, I don't know. I'm going to have to give it another go, whether I use something different, or I do different techniques, whether I use less when I apply it, because I did do about 4 or 5 pumps onto the sponge, whether I just do one, spread it and just build that way instead of going like whole hog with a lot of foundation, because that is just the way that I'm used to. I mean, it's creased slightly in my nose, but not too much. I don't ever have to really worry about smile line, it's sinking into my smile lines. But yeah, pretty much every Revolution foundation I have loved when they brought it out. This one, I think it might take some playing about to see, or for me to like it, or even to try out and see what suits my skin with it. But yeah, I'm going to leave it here. I will probably update you over on Instagram when I've tried it a few more times, to let you know how I get on, if I like it, if it's going to my sister or something like that, going to someone different. Actually it'll probably be my mum, but this isn't really her shade. So yeah, if you do want to like know how I get on, head over to my Instagram. I always leave it linked down in the description. Like I said, I will leave all of the products that I use that you didn't see written down in the description as well. I do try to remember to do that, don't always remember, but if I don't, give me a little nudge in the comments and I will do that. Hit like if you liked this. If you have tried this foundation and you've got any tips for making it work, then please let me know, because I don't like makeup to go to waste. I'm being very conscious this year of what makeup I own and not buying more just for the sake of it. I mean, there will be a video coming up which hopefully is going to be one a month, but it all depends. I'm going to be doing a January empties. So I, this month, have made a conscious effort to use up some products that are already open. I have got through a couple, and I'm going to share them with you, share them what I thought, whether I'll be repurchasing them further down the line. But yeah, if you did like this, hit subscribe, and if you do like the sound of that video, then subscribe and turn on the notifications, and it will be up in the next few days because it's the first week of February and it can't be a January empties if it's February. So yeah, I will see you all in my next video. Bye.